My name is Teresa Westbrook. I am 28 years old. Last Tuesday, I was sitting in the elegant office of a notary in Munich and had to watch my entire family celebrate because they had inherited millions from my grandfather's will. Meanwhile, I was just holding an old yellowed envelope in my hands, in which there was absolutely nothing, except for individual pieces of paper with a phone number. My sister Clara laughed so loudly that she had to hold on to my mother's arm. My uncle raised his coffee maker as if to a malicious toast on me. The notary just sat there in silence, hands folded, watching me very closely. Everyone in this room had already spent the inheritance in their mouths, even before the ink on the documents was dry. And I, for all of you, was just the running joke of the family, the university dropout who earned her money by restoring old wooden chairs in a small workshop. She wrote me off completely years ago, and my grandfather's worthless envelope was the final proof of my failure for her. But there was one thing that none of them in this room suspected. Neither my mother Sabine, nor my sister, nor my haughty uncle. They didn't know what was happening. If the supposed failure takes the phone in her hand and dials a number, to understand how it could have come to this, we have to go back to the Monday morning of last week. It was the day I received the call that Grandpa Harald had fallen asleep peacefully. My phone rang at exactly 6:14 in the morning. I know this so well because I was just lacing up my work boots to start my shift at the furniture workshop, Holland Design, in a small suburb of Munich. On the other end of the line was my mother. Signe Westbrook usually never called me before 9 a.m., unless she was in desperate need of a favor, or there was some dramatic news she was impatient to share with the world. My mother Sabine had informed me on the phone that Grandpa Harald had fallen asleep peacefully at the age of 82. Her voice sounded strangely distant, almost businesslike. She told me to show up at the notary's office in the city center of Munich on time at 11 o'clock the next day. When I entered the magnificent room with the high windows, I immediately felt the greedy tension in the air. My sister Clara was already carrying an expensive designer bag, and my uncle was flipping through brochures for luxury cars. All of them had already firmly planned the legacy of our grandfather in their cats. They thought that the old man would leave them his entire empire. But when the notary opened the will, the first tremendous shock for the family followed. Grandpa Harold had divided the family's own furniture chain and the real estate, but my name did not appear at all in the large sums. Instead, the noto pushed this one yellowed yellow envelope across the table to me. My sister Clara immediately started laughing and hissed at me gleefully. This is exactly what a simple craftswoman deserves. I opened the envelope quite calmly and found in it only a small note with a handwritten phone number from Switzerland. When I dialed this unknown number on the way home the same evening, a voice came up that changed my entire life and the fate of my family in one fell swoop. If you don't want to miss the next parts of this fair reckoning, then just press the subscribe button now to listen to such gripping stories every day. I ignored the mocking laughter of my family, put the note in my jacket pocket, and left the notary's office without another word. They thought I was the big loser of that day. They had no idea that my grandfather had already seen through the insatiable of his own children many years ago. He knew that they would destroy the family business for their luxurious lifestyle within a very short time. When I was sitting in the car and typed the Swiss number, I did not yet suspect that this note was direct access to a secret trust account, an account in which my grandfather's real millions were located. I was sitting in my car in the dark parking lot and dialed the Swiss number from the little note. After only ringing twice, a deep, calm voice came from the other end. "Good evening, Mrs. Westbrook. We were already expecting your call." He was the chief economist of an exclusive private bank in Zurich. He explained to me in a cool, businesslike tone that my grandfather Harald had invested a secret trust property exactly 5 years ago. The total amount on this account amounted to no less than 38 million euros. My breath caught in my throat as the man on the phone continued calmly. "All the money is yours from today, Teresa." But her grandfather left a very specific condition. The condition was as ingenious as it was merciless. My grandfather had known exactly that my mother Sabine and my sister Kara only considered wood and design as their personal savings book. They had no idea about real craftsmanship, and even less about sound corporate management. The banker explained to me that the assets in Switzerland were linked to the real estate and supply contracts of the German furniture chain. My family had inherited the branches, but the land on which these shops stood belonged to my foundation from now on. They had the beautiful facades, but I owned the foundation on which they stood. The next morning, we all met again at the law firm. My sister Clara came in with an arrogant smile and took a look at my simple work dresses. "Are you still here, Teresa? Are you looking for leftovers?" She mocked in front of the notary's eyes. I didn't say a word. I just opened my folder and put the official letter of the Zürcher Triongesellschaft on the table. When the notary skimmed the document, his eyes widened in absolute horror. He looked up from the paper to my mother and said in a trembling voice, "Mrs. Westbrook, if you do not sign this contract immediately, your necklace will lose in exactly 48 hours. All rental rights for your main branches." My mother's incredulous staring was priceless. The main branch of Holzen Design in Munich was closed the same month. My mother Sabine and my sister Clara had to painfully realize that the beautiful shop windows in the city center were absolutely worthless without the expensive property underneath. Since they could not possibly pay the immense lease claims of my new foundation, they had to file for insolvency. Her dream of a fast luxury life burst like a soap bubble. They had to return the expensive designer bags and the most purchased cars, and today they both work as simple employees in a large furniture warehouse on the outskirts of the city. I used the inheritance of my grandfather Harriet wisely. The 38 million euros went directly to the modernization of the old workshop where I studied. Today we produce high-quality handmade designer furniture and export it all over the world. My grandfather's old loyal employees run the production today, and none of them had to lose their jobs because of my family's vultures. This was Grandpa Harriet's true will to protect the craft that he had loved so much. Every evening, when the workshop becomes quiet and the buzzing of the saws stops, I go to my grandfather's old wooden workbench. I lay my hand flat on the cool, smooth wood, which is marked by 40 years of hard work. My fingers fit perfectly into the worn place where his hand was always lying. I no longer feel any hatred for my family, and no bitterness either. Healthy boundaries are not built out of anger, but out of pure respect for one's own worth. Grandpa Harold did not give me a ready-made fortune at that time. He gave me the right to decide for myself. And this is the most valuable legacy that a person can leave.